Very few people that embark on a spiritual life take on a spiritual life because they're having trouble coping in a non-spiritual life, although all of life is spiritual to a certain extent, because the body-mind is psychophysical. It's not just physical. And it's because of this psyche, the psychic part, that we often find it difficult in living in conditional life. Hence, looking elsewhere for us to cope. It's only this disposition, this clenched fist disposition, this self-contraction, that we feel awkward, difficult, alienated. There's an avoidance of relationship. We feel disturbed, we feel in dilemma, and we look elsewhere for solutions. But once there's no self-contraction, once the body-mind is like in that disposition of the open hand, there's no problem. The open hand disposition is already in relationship to all conditions that are arising. So there's no need to escape. Most people escape into their heads. And it goes over and over and over, churning this, churning that, over and over again. Never rest, never feeling at home, never happy. Well, due to my teacher, Adidar Samboj, he says, satsang is the solution. Divine communion is the solution. He says, all you need is this love relationship. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, be in that love relationship. And in that love relationship, the body-mind is automatically rested. And the body-mind becomes as it should be, without self-contraction. Inherently relational, no avoidance. He asks every devotee or every individual to be sensitive to this self-contraction, and then to be sensitive to this disposition that counters the clenched fist disposition. So true spiritual life is really only about being truly human. Once the body-mind is established and has a understanding of this contraction, it can be countered in this love relationship. You can sit here, there, and everywhere. You can go here, there, and everywhere and find the divine reality prior to the individual, personal, small R reality. In satsang, in divine communion. There is no desire or wishing to go elsewhere for a cure. real God, divine communion, is the cure. It ends all seeking. It's a radical way to live, because you are making yourself available under all conditions as an open hand. You see clearly and you hear clearly, and you inherently know what's right and what to do. You're allowing yourself to be lived by real God. You're allowing whatever words, you're allowing whatever you need to say to it. It is an all-embracing disposition and situation. This love communion, satsang. It is the only cure, as he said, for the loveless heart. Everything else is egoic. Everything else comes from this place. The seeking for remedies come from this place. The seeking for stimulations come from this place. The seeking for explanations come from this place. The seeking for more knowledge comes from this place. And constellations and belief systems. There is nowhere to go. Really, there is nowhere to go. I was out on my bike this morning. I went from my home to the theatre. But I didn't go anywhere. I was conscious. I was cycling consciously. I was there in the theatre. It was an hour of being introduced to the various exercises that this particular ballet company go through each morning. They're performing a ballet this afternoon and this evening at their local theatre, the Royal Ballet School, or Royal School of Ballet in London. And it was something new. And I was there in this disposition, as if I was at home. See, when you're in this disposition, you are always at home. And he asked any questions, and I was the only one in the audience that asked a question. And it was easy. But then after asking the question, I felt a little uncomfortable. There was contraction in my head. I started pondering. I started making mind, which I noticed. And I had a picture of Adidar there. And I noticed what I was doing. This act of separation. This act of tension. And I turned to Adidar. And within seconds, it all went. I was back with the stage, with the surroundings, with the audience. I was back there. And that's why I'm still a spiritual, that's why I am a practitioner. And true spiritual practice is this divine communion. This practice is Holy Communion, satsang. It's not a case of going elsewhere, taking on disciplines, becoming a Buddhist, becoming a Christian, becoming this or that or the other. It's simply your body-mind, or the body-mind that you call, whatever you call it, is transformed in the moment, from this disposition to this disposition. So it's an ongoing practice, and it will be for the rest of my life. I'm in the world, you see. I haven't cut myself off. This disposition cuts yourself off. And here, this self-contraction is all about avoidance. When I first came across Adidar, he would say, choose any situation and find me there. We've got to keep finding real God. It's the only sanity there is. It really is the only sanity. Take on this practice. It's radical. There's no way the world is going to change unless we practice living as real God, the divine reality of love, joy, delight, happiness, relationship, already relationship, no more avoiding relationship. Thank you for listening. Be a true spiritual practitioner. Forget yourself and remember me. And as we remember the divine person, we become what we meditate on, and our body-mind will be taken over to be a vehicle of God's expression.